Ah, my dear friend, sit down for a moment and let me share something with you, something the world seems to have forgotten in all its noise and chaos. Do you feel it too? That ache deep inside? The one that whispers, this isn't how it's supposed to be. You're not imagining it. You're not alone in feeling like you're being pulled in 1,000 directions, like the very essence of your soul is being chipped away little by little. The truth is, the world has gone completely mad, spinning faster and faster, dragging us along for the ride whether we want it or not. It's not just a problem, it's a crisis. Every single day, we wake up to an endless list of demands. Our phones buzz, our calendars overflow, our responsibilities pile up, and the expectations never seem to stop. There's always another email to answer, another chore to complete, another headline to digest. And while we're caught up in this whirlwind, our spirits, oh, our poor spirits, are crying out for rest, for peace, for something real. Let me tell you something, this lifestyle we've all come to accept as normal. It's anything but. It's a betrayal of the very nature of who we are. We weren't made to live like this. Our hearts, those tender, beautiful cores of who we are, weren't designed to endure this constant barrage. Our souls, meant to soar freely, are now tethered and weighed down by endless distractions and pressures. Can I tell you why it feels so wrong? Because it is wrong. Deep within us, there's a spark, a piece of something divine, something sacred. That spark needs nurturing, not neglect. But the world, in its madness, has convinced us otherwise. It's told us that we have to keep up, hustle harder, never rest, always achieve. And so we run. We run until we're ragged, drained, and empty. We trade the quiet joy of living for the fleeting satisfaction of ticking off another task or gaining another like on a screen. But here's the truth, my friend, your heart and soul weren't made for this insanity. They were made for connection, for stillness, for purpose. They were made to love deeply, to create boldly, to experience life fully. You weren't meant to be a machine, endlessly churning out productivity. You were meant to be human, with all the beauty and vulnerability that entails. And yet, the world doesn't care about that. It's like a relentless tide, pulling us away from the shores of our true selves and into its cold, chaotic depths. It doesn't just want your time or your energy, it wants your soul. It wants to numb you, to make you forget who you are and what really matters. It whispers lies, telling you that busyness equals worthiness, that more is always better, that rest is weakness. But let me tell you something else, you have a choice. Yes, the tide is strong, but you are stronger. You can turn away from this madness. You can reclaim your soul, your time, your peace. It won't be easy, and it won't happen overnight, but it is possible. Start small. Find moments of quiet. Protect your boundaries fiercely. Say no to things that don't serve your heart and yes to what makes it sing. The world may have gone mad, but you don't have to join it. You can rise above the chaos. You can choose a different path, one where your heart and soul thrive, not just survive. Believe me when I say this, your life is too precious, too extraordinary, to waste in the madness. So take a deep breath, look inward, and remember who you truly are. You are not just a cog in the machine. You are light, you are love, and you are capable of so much more than the world has led you to believe. Don't let it steal your soul. The world has become a glass house, thanks to social media. Everyone's life is on display, open and accessible to anyone, anytime. We've built this unspoken expectation that we can peek into someone's world whenever we like, or even step in uninvited. Boundaries? They've all but disappeared, and with them, our sense of personal space. It's as if we're always on stage, performing for an audience that never sleeps. And the consequences? They're heavier than we often admit. Constant exposure and the pressure to keep up appearances have created a breeding ground for emotional struggles. Comparison creeps in, self-doubt festers, and before we know it, we're overwhelmed. Depression thrives in this environment, fed by the unrealistic standards and the relentless need to engage with the world, even when our hearts are begging for a break. The loss of personal space isn't just about privacy, it's about losing touch with ourselves. We've become so used to living in the gaze of others that we forget how to truly live for ourselves. It's a silent crisis, one that deserves more attention than a quick scroll through a timeline. Imagine waking up every morning and opening a window, not to see the sunlight or the beauty of the world outside, but to witness all its pain and suffering rushing in like a tidal wave. This is the reality we live in now. Thanks to our phones, tablets, and constant connectivity, the tragedies of the entire world are delivered to us on a silver platter, hourly, relentlessly, without pause. Every catastrophe, every act of injustice, every heartbreaking story is laid bare, filling our screens and our minds, leaving no room for peace or escape. Think about it. The weight of our personal struggles is heavy enough. We face heartbreak, setbacks, and challenges in our daily lives. But now, layered on top of that, is the burden of the world's pain. It's not just a passing headline or a distant event, it's right there, in our hands, detailed in high definition. Every flood, every war, every injustice becomes our emotional responsibility, pulling at our hearts, demanding our attention, and often leaving us feeling powerless to make any meaningful change. The statistics make it even more alarming. The average American consumes around 10 hours of media per day. That's 10 hours of constant input, of images, stories, and updates that are often designed to provoke strong emotions. News outlets and social media algorithms know that tragedy captures attention, and so they feed it to us endlessly. It's a cycle that keeps us hooked, but it also keeps us anxious, overwhelmed, and drained. The problem is that our minds weren't built to handle this kind of constant exposure. Human beings are empathetic creatures by nature, but there's a limit to how much pain we can process before it starts to harm us. It's like trying to fill a cup with an ocean, it overflows, spilling out as stress, anxiety, and even depression. The more we consume this endless stream of suffering, the more we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders, and it's simply too much. This constant access to global problems has another hidden cost: it makes us feel helpless. We see so much suffering, but most of it feels far beyond our reach to fix. We're bombarded with problems that require systemic change, resources, and global cooperation, things we, as individuals, can't provide on our own. This sense of helplessness can be crushing, leading us to disengage entirely or to carry a heavy guilt that lingers in the background of our lives. What's even more concerning is how this cycle erodes our ability to see the good in the world. When tragedy becomes the default narrative, it's easy to forget that there's still beauty, kindness, and progress happening too. It distorts our perspective, making the world seem darker and more hopeless than it truly is. We lose our balance, focusing solely on the bad and forgetting that light still exists. So what can we do? The answer lies in boundaries, both external and internal. We need to take control of what we consume and how much we allow it to affect us. Limit your screen time, especially when it comes to news and social media. Give yourself permission to step away from the flood of negativity and seek out the stories of hope and resilience that still exist. It's not about ignoring the world's problems but about protecting your capacity to face them with strength and clarity. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of your own mental and emotional health isn't selfish, it's necessary. By setting boundaries and prioritizing your well-being, you'll not only feel more balanced but also be better equipped to make a positive difference, whether that's in your own life or in the lives of others. The world will continue to share its pain, but you don't have to carry it all. Choose what you let in, nurture your sense of hope, and remember that even amidst the chaos, you have the power to create moments of peace and meaning. Let me share something I've observed, something we don't often talk about but that we all feel deep down. We've become addicted, not to something obvious like alcohol or drugs, but to distraction. This addiction has slipped into our lives so quietly, so seamlessly, that we don't even question it anymore. In fact, it's become completely normal, even celebrated. If you're constantly busy, constantly plugged in, you're seen as productive, modern, on top of things. But beneath the surface, this addiction is taking a toll far greater than we realize. Distraction has become our escape, our refuge from the parts of ourselves we don't want to face. And honestly, who wouldn't be tempted by it? The world has made it so easy. Whenever life feels heavy, whenever there's a moment of discomfort, be it boredom, fear, disappointment, or even just the quiet ache of unmet needs, we reach for a screen, a notification, a task, anything to avoid sitting with those feelings. In those fleeting moments, distraction feels like a gift. It dulls the pain, fills the silence, and gives us something to do, something to focus on that isn't the weight of our own souls. But here's the thing, this escape comes at a price. It's a short-term relief that brings long-term consequences. The more we distract ourselves, the less we allow ourselves to heal, to grow, to truly live. Those hurts and fears we avoid, they don't go away. They sit quietly in the background, waiting, growing, until they're too big to ignore. And by the time we notice, we've lost touch, not just with our pain, but with the deeper parts of ourselves. This addiction to distraction keeps us skimming the surface of life, never diving deep. We lose our presence, our ability to connect meaningfully with others, and even with ourselves. We trade moments of true peace for fleeting hits of relief, and before we know it, the cycle is unbroken. We feel restless, so we distract ourselves, which only leaves us feeling emptier than before. But what's most heartbreaking about this addiction is how it robs us of our most precious gift, time. Time to be still, to reflect, to heal, to create, to dream. Time to truly live in the present moment, not just pass through it. By avoiding the discomfort of facing ourselves, we're also avoiding the joy, the wonder, the beauty of being alive. The good news is, we have a choice. We can break this cycle. It's not easy, it requires courage to face what we've been running from, but it's worth it. Start small. Put the phone down for a few minutes. Sit in silence and listen to your thoughts. Allow yourself to feel, even if it's uncomfortable. Little by little, you'll begin to rediscover parts of yourself that have been buried beneath the distractions. Remember, life isn't meant to be lived in a constant state of escape. It's meant to be felt, fully and deeply. And while that can be scary, it's also where the magic happens. Don't let distraction steal that from you. Take back your time, your presence, your life. Trust me, you're stronger than you think, and the peace you're searching for is waiting, just beyond the noise. Something strange has happened to us. We thought technology, with all its promises, would make our lives easier, freeing up time for the things we love. Instead, it's done the opposite. Without even realizing it, we've begun expecting our souls to process life as quickly and efficiently as our phones do. But we're not machines, and this relentless pace is taking a toll far deeper than we're willing to admit. The internet has reshaped the very way our brains work. Think about it, every second of every day, there's something vying for our attention. News headlines scream for urgency. Notifications ping, demanding immediate response. Alerts flash, posts flood our feeds, marketing messages infiltrate our thoughts. It's constant, it's overwhelming, and it's inescapable. Everywhere we turn, there's noise, a never-ending competition for our minds. And what's the cost of this? We've traded depth for distraction. Our lives have become confined to the shallows of texts, swipes, and likes. We scroll through moments instead of living them, skimming the surface of experiences without ever diving into their meaning. The things that truly nourish us, the unhurried conversations with friends, the peaceful walks where time seems to stand still, feel like luxuries, almost out of reach. We've forgotten how to be present, how to savor, how to focus on what truly matters. This pace isn't just exhausting, it's traumatizing to the soul. Our hearts weren't designed to move at the speed of smartphones. The constant stream of input leaves us scattered, fragmented, and empty. And let's be honest, are any of us really enjoying this way of life? The endless chase, the hurried moments, the feeling that no matter how much we do, it's never enough. It's not fulfilling, it's draining. Deep down, we know this. We feel it in the quiet moments, the rare times when we pause long enough to notice the ache inside. It's the part of us that yearns for connection, meaning, and rest. But instead of answering that call, we fill the void with more noise, more distractions, hoping to outrun the discomfort. The truth is, we need to slow down. To reclaim the ability to focus, we must first reclaim our time, our presence, and our priorities. It starts with small, deliberate steps, putting the phone down during meals, leaving space in the day for silence, and choosing to engage deeply with the people and moments around us. It's about remembering that life isn't found in the speed or the scroll, it's found in the pauses, the stillness, the things that truly feed our souls. We've been pulled into a pace of life that no one enjoys, but we don't have to stay there. We can choose to step away from the frenzy, to slow down and reconnect with what really matters. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because the things that matter most, the things that truly make life rich, don't come with notifications. They come quietly, patiently, waiting for us to notice them again. The solution to the chaos we've created is refreshingly simple yet deeply transformative. In Get Your Life Back, John Eldredge outlines practices designed to help us recover our souls, practices that don't require monumental changes but can profoundly impact our daily lives. At the heart of these practices is the idea of reclaiming transitions, those quiet moments in between the rush of tasks and obligations, where we can breathe, reflect, and reconnect with what matters most. Modern life, driven by technology, has stolen these precious transition spaces. We're constantly jumping from one thing to the next, our minds always on, our attention always divided. Notifications interrupt our thoughts, and the pull of efficiency keeps us in a state of perpetual motion. But our souls are crying out for something different. They need pauses, spaces to catch their breath and recalibrate. Eldredge reminds us that these transitions aren't just necessary, they're sacred. They're where we find clarity, peace, and even God. In the stillness of these moments, we can reconnect with our truest selves, letting go of the frantic pace and rediscovering what it means to live deeply and meaningfully. So how do we create these spaces in our lives? It starts with small, intentional changes. Turn off your phone notifications, those constant pings and alerts keep us tethered to distraction. By silencing them, we take back control of our attention and create room for stillness. Establish a bedtime for your phone, put your device to sleep at 8 p.m. Let your evenings become a sanctuary for rest, reflection, and connection with loved ones, free from the pull of screens. Use tools like the Pause app. This app helps you create intentional breaks in your day, guiding you to slow down, breathe, and focus on the present moment. It's a simple yet powerful way to integrate mindfulness into your routine. But beyond these practical steps, there's a deeper shift we need to make, loosening our grip on efficiency. We've become obsessed with doing more, faster, and better. But in our pursuit of productivity, we've sacrificed something far greater, our ability to love well. Loving well requires time, presence, and attention. It means prioritizing relationships over to-do lists, moments of connection over the pursuit of perfection. This isn't about rejecting technology or efficiency altogether. It's about putting them in their rightful place, using them as tools rather than letting them dictate our lives. It's about reclaiming our humanity, one transition at a time, and learning to live with intention and grace. The solution isn't complicated, but it does require courage. Courage to step off the treadmill of modern life and embrace a slower, richer way of being. Courage to prioritize what truly matters, even when it feels countercultural. But as we take these steps, we'll find something extraordinary, a life that isn't just busy, but full. A life that isn't just efficient, but deeply meaningful. A life where our souls can finally breathe again. Take a moment to really think about this. The average person spends a staggering 93% of their life indoors. That's 93 years out of a 100 locked away in little compartments, rooms, offices, cars, separated from the vibrant, living world outside. Only 7 short years are spent under the open sky, feeling the sun, breathing in the fresh air, and soaking in the wonders of creation. It's no wonder our souls often feel starved, restless, and detached. The rescue of our weary souls won't be found in screens or walls but in reconnecting with the real world, the dazzling beauty that surrounds us. We weren't made to live confined. The outdoors, with all its colors, textures, and life, is where restoration begins. As the poet Gerard Manley Hopkins said, the world is charged with the grandeur of God. Every leaf, every sunset, every bird's song carries a whisper of something greater, a grace designed to heal us, to remind us of who we are and the beauty we've been given. Beauty is one of the richest gifts our souls can receive. It's not a luxury, it's a lifeline. It has this quiet power to heal us, to draw us out of our chaos and back into a place of peace and wonder. When we pause long enough to truly see beauty, to let it touch our hearts, we're absorbing a piece of God's goodness, a balm for our overburdened souls. So how do we bring this life-giving beauty into our everyday lives? Here are 2 simple but profound steps. Pause when beauty offers itself to you. The next time you notice a stunning sunset, a flower in bloom, or the sound of a gentle breeze, stop. Don't rush past it. Take it in. Consciously receive it as the gift it is, a grace meant to nourish your soul. Breathe deeply. Let it remind you that life is more than tasks and responsibilities. Fill your world with beauty, surround yourself with things that inspire and uplift you. Hang paintings that make your heart sing. Play music that stirs your spirit. Take regular walks in nature, even if it's just in a nearby park. These aren't trivial activities, they're acts of restoration, a way of inviting the richness of life back into your heart. But here's the real question, are you looking for quick fixes to ease your exhaustion, or are you seeking lasting solutions to restore your soul? Quick fixes might bring temporary relief, but true restoration comes from engaging with the world in a way that feeds your spirit. It's not about escaping life but embracing it, fully, deeply, and with open arms. The outdoors is waiting for you, brimming with the beauty, wonder, and grace your soul is aching for. Step outside. Let the grandeur of the world remind you of the life you were meant to live. It's not too late to reclaim those years, to trade confinement for freedom, and to let beauty do its healing work in your soul. Let's begin with something you absolutely adore, the sound of your child's laughter, the golden warmth of sunlight dancing on the ocean waves, or the joy your dog brings when it greets you with boundless love. Maybe it's the way your favorite song lifts your spirit, or the serene beauty of a painting that feels like it was made just for you. Think of a cherished vacation spot or the comforting presence of someone dear to you. Let those feelings of love, joy, and wonder fill your heart for a moment. Now, here's the incredible truth: so does God. Every one of those things you love, every beautiful, meaningful moment, was crafted by Him. He made it with you in mind, knowing it would light up your heart. The things you love aren't random, they're gifts, personal expressions of His heart for you. Think about that for a moment. Every sunrise that left you breathless, every song that moved your soul, every hug that brought you comfort, those weren't just coincidences. Those were God's way of saying, "I love you." He is the creator of everything good, everything you hold dear, and every piece of joy you've ever experienced. Every wonderful thing in your life is an extension of His love, a reflection of His care for you. It's like a love letter written into the fabric of your everyday existence. Every time you felt happy, every thrill of excitement, every moment of peace and hope, those were glimpses of His love reaching out to you, filling your soul in ways words alone can't capture. So, start with what you love. Look around and recognize the Creator behind it all. When you see the beauty and goodness in your life, let it lead you to the one who made it for you. Let it remind you that you are deeply, unconditionally, and extravagantly loved. Because every time your heart swells with gratitude or delight, that's God whispering, "This is my gift to you. This is my love for you." It's easy, isn't it, to look at others and feel a pang of envy when they seem to have something we don't, whether it's more success, more talent, or simply a life that seems smoother than our own. But here's a truth that can transform your heart: gratitude and admiration are the keys to unlocking joy, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Instead of focusing on what you lack, try this: pray for those who have it better than you, those who are more gifted or blessed in ways that feel beyond your reach. When you see someone thriving, whether it's their career soaring, their pregnancy announcement, or their long-awaited healing, don't allow envy to creep in. Instead, rejoice with them. Praise God for their blessings. Celebrate their victories as if they were your own, because in doing so, you're releasing yourself from the chains of comparison and cultivating a heart of gratitude. Pray for someone else's promotion. Pray for someone else's health and happiness. Cheer for them. Praise God for their wonderful lives. This is a powerful practice. It shifts your focus from what you don't have to the abundance that's around you, and it shifts your heart from bitterness to celebration. It's a choice to look at the goodness of others and not feel threatened by it, but instead to embrace it as part of the rich tapestry of life. In doing this, you crucify envy. Envy is a thief. It robs you of your peace, joy, and sense of fulfillment. But when you choose gratitude, when you choose admiration for the lives of others, you free yourself from that inner tension and open yourself up to deep, lasting contentment. This is what restores the soul. So, in those moments when you catch yourself feeling a pang of jealousy, take a deep breath and turn it into a prayer. Lift up the people around you, celebrate their gifts and their blessings. The more you do this, the more your soul will be healed, and the more you'll discover that there's more than enough joy to go around. You'll find that when you celebrate others, you're also giving thanks for the good things in your own life. Gratitude truly multiplies, and in sharing in the joy of others, you open yourself to a deeper, richer joy that can only come from a heart that's truly free. In a world that's constantly telling us to move on, to shake off the pain, and to just keep going, we can easily neglect the places in our soul that are hurting. Our culture has a way of minimizing grief, brushing aside losses as if they don't matter. The reality is, when we face profound loss, whether it's the death of a loved one, a broken relationship, or a shattered dream, life doesn't give us the space or permission to truly grieve. In fact, the average bereavement period for a spouse or child in corporate America is a shocking 4 days. 4 days to heal from the unimaginable. It's heartbreaking. But here's the truth we must embrace: the world will never budget soul care for you. The world will keep moving at its relentless pace, expecting you to do the same, no matter what personal losses you're carrying. That's why it's crucial to practice kindness toward yourself, to allow yourself the grace to grieve. You don't have to rush through it. Your soul needs time to heal, and you must honor that need. Think for a moment about something you've lost, something you've experienced that hurt deeply but didn't get the time or space it deserved to be fully acknowledged. Maybe it's a disappointment, a dream that slipped away, a hurt that was buried too quickly because life didn't slow down. Name that loss. Call it out for what it is. Give yourself full permission to feel it, to sit with it, to let your soul truly enter into it without guilt or shame. Grief can feel like a heavy burden, but it's also a powerful doorway to healing. When we allow ourselves to feel the pain, we create space for restoration. So don't rush past your hurt. Allow it to rise to the surface so it can be released. Invite Jesus into this place of pain. Ask him, "What do you have to say about this, God?" He's waiting, knocking at the door of your heart, ready to meet you in that raw, vulnerable space. This isn't about avoiding the hurt or pretending it's not there. It's about acknowledging it, feeling it, and then opening your heart to the healing presence of Jesus. He's not afraid of your pain. In fact, he longs to enter into it with you, to help carry the weight and bring comfort to your weary soul. So, take a moment now. Find that place in your heart that you've neglected. It might feel like a wound that's been buried too long, but it's still there, waiting for you to address it. Sit with it, allow yourself to feel it deeply, and then invite Jesus into that space. He's ready to help you heal, ready to bring peace where there's been turmoil, and ready to restore what's been broken. You don't have to carry this alone.